Mr. Charles Duke, on April 21st, 1972, you landed on the moon. What were your emotions when you first saw the surface of the moon?
It was very emotional, very exciting. We were 6 hours behind schedule, and so we were doubtful that we were going to land. And so when they gave us permission to attempt our landing, we got very, very excited. And as we touched down on the moon, I just erupted with enthusiasm, and I screamed over the microphone, Houston, old Orion is finally here, fantastic.
Close, open, close. Old Orion is finally here, Houston, fantastic. And I can look right out to the left.
Was this a mixture of fear as well?
No fear at this point. It was just one of an emotional high as we touched down. We had great confidence in our ability, our training, our spacecraft, and confidence that overcome any problem that we might have. And so there was just one of supreme confidence, really, as we were going to make a good landing.
Did the landscape as it appeared from a window look as you were prepared to see it?
The major features were exactly like we had trained. We had photographs that were taken from orbit on a prior mission, so we studied these photographs, and the main features were visible bigger than 15 meters. But things smaller than 15 meters we did not see until we got close to the moon, and so that left a little uncertainty about exactly where we were going to land, so we had to do some maneuvers to make that a safe landing.
How about the vision of the Earth from the moon? Does it look just like the pictures as we see it now?
Well, first let me say, from where we stood on the moon, the Earth was directly overhead. And in Apollo, you move your head, but the helmet doesn't move. So when I looked up, I was looking at the top of my helmet. So I didn't see the Earth from the moon. But in orbit, we did. As we came around, we had a half Earth in the sky, and we could see this beautiful, mostly blue and white, ice caps on the poles, clouds in between in the oceans. It was more dramatic than the pictures we took because you're seeing it for real. But the pictures really did capture a beautiful image of the Earth in the blackness of space.
While walking on the moon toward the LEM, you said, "Boy, is this fun." Could you describe this moment of joy?
Boy, is this fun.
Well, the whole 72 hours on the moon was joy to me. Every event we saw, every new crater, every new drive across a ridge, we saw a new part of the moon, climbing the mountains. And I said fantastic 1,000 times, and it was a great joy the whole 72 hours that we were on the surface, except when I was asleep, and then of course no emotions then.
Do you remember any of your dreams while you were on the moon?
I had no dreams on the moon. I had a very dramatic dream before I went to the moon, but no dreams on the moon. I was just too exhausted.
Have you ever dreamed being on the moon afterwards?
One time, yeah. We were driving up to the north to our final destination, and that beauty of the moon from the north Ray Crater was, it caused a dream. The dream came shortly after we got back, and I was in training again for Apollo 17.
As a 3D director, I am of course interested by the stereo pictures we have from your moon expedition. Did you have double objective cameras, or did you simply do two shots slightly askew?
We did one camera, one lens, and we did it overlap, slightly askewed, yeah. So we panned around, and actually we moved around in a circle, so most of our panoramas were either 180 degrees or 360 degrees. And we had practiced and practiced and practiced that we would have an overlap so we could have the stereo pictures.
Oh, just if it's... Look at that. Come over here. Yeah.
At the Plum Crater, you found a layer of bright white soil under the gray topsoil. Do we know now what this was?
Well, it was ejecta from what we call South Ray Crater, which was about 12 kilometers from where we landed. It was too far to go in our car, so we were hoping that we would find some of that ejecta from that meteor impact, and we did. And that was, as we scraped away, we saw this white material, and we assumed that that was from the crater that was out of our reach.
Have you brought back any of this?
We did. We brought back a number of samples. In our whole sample, I've got how many hundreds of samples, but we had 98 kilos of moon rock and soil samples. So we got a whole suite of the variety of the rock in the Descartes Highlands.
This one right here? That's it. You got it right there.
You collected a rock of more than 11 kilos. If I'm not mistaken, this is the largest rock brought back to Earth by a lunar mission. Where is this displayed now?
The rock is still in storage, most of it. It's been sliced up and analyzed in various universities and labs around the world. So even today, scientists in various labs are requesting lunar samples, and so NASA parcels them out to the laboratories around the world, and so part of that big rock is still intact. The other, it's been sliced up and is now some destroyed, but some samples are still being studied.
John, it sure is.
On the video, it looks like it's quite difficult when we see you get this rock.
I fall in the Plum Crater getting this rock.
Well, it was about this size, about the big as a big melon, and I couldn't get my hand around it, so I had to lean over and roll it up my leg. That was the only way I was going to get it up, and I was able to do that because it was too big for our tools. And too big for me to reach down and pick up with one hand.
Were you allowed to keep for yourself some moon rock or even dust?
No.
Nothing at all?
Well, I have the patches from my spacesuit, and they were covered with dust. So some of the items that I had is memorabilia, has moon dust on it. But fragments of rock and soil we weren't able to keep. Eventually, they gave us a sample of moon rock, but we had to donate it to an institution. I gave mine to my prep school in Florida.
What is the main message you want to give to the new generations?
Well, you know, I would probably say half the people alive today weren't even alive when we went to the moon. And so I spent a lot of time traveling the world, sharing this experience. There's a lot of interest in Apollo. And for the young people, I challenge them to take care of themselves spiritually, mentally, get the best education they can, take care of themselves physically, because the future belongs to the young people. I want to challenge them to take the hard courses in school in science, technology, engineering, and math.
Mr. Charles, thank you very,
Thank you.
very much.
It was a pleasure. My first time on 3D.
Our privilege, so.